Hello to you all, and thank you for joining me in today's video, which I will be talking about the life partners that we choose for ourselves and the implications this potentially has if we choose partners we later find out we are not compatible with. It is common that we always look for or seek out similarities in others, and more especially when it is about developing personal relationships with them. We become very assertive in who we pick to be part of our team. The reason why this is a common trait among people is not very far-fetched, nor is it a complicated one. It is pretty much basic or our first nature. We do this because we are mammals first, and the common behavior trait of mammals is to always want to belong to a herd. And because the term herd is mostly used to describe animal settings and is defined as a social group of similar species of animals. However, when we are dealing or talking about us people, then we can describe it as a social group or a collective of people sharing the same thought patterns, ideas, or beliefs, etc. For you to belong to a particular herd, you must demonstrate similar traits or characteristics that the rest of the herd exhibits. That is how you are able, or that is how you are accepted as part of that social group as one of their own. This is taught to us from birth. You are born into a family, which is the smallest unit, and that family is part of a community, which is also part of several sub-communities within a city. And then you have a county, which is part of a country, a continent, and so on and so forth. Therefore, from cradle to grave, you are taught to belong to a group or your herd, where you will adopt their beliefs and you will be accepted by them for your survival. And if you suddenly shift and no longer share the core beliefs that make you a part of that herd, you are then ostracized, and naturally you will have to seek another herd that accepts your newfound beliefs or that exhibits your newfound beliefs. It is then obvious how much we are social animals after all. I'll give you a scenario that will show you how completely dependent we are of each other. For instance, if you have ever moved to a different continent and no one there looks like you, the first instinct is to seek out anyone who looks like you. And the moment you see someone who resembles your characteristics in that moment, you will not exactly care if they're good people or bad. It's about the instant relief that you will have at seeing a familiar face and the joy that, oh, thank heavens, I am not alone. This is why, in most cases, people who have moved to different continents will drift towards their own race or people that look like them and resemble them. Another scenario might be where you might be of different races or characteristics completely, but coming from the same place of origin, say country or city, etc. And you move away from everything that's familiar. Once you realize you're both coming from the same place of origin with this other person, you will automatically drift towards each other. And then you can notice that it necessarily has nothing to do with appearances or races or anything of that sort. It is the fact that we are also bonded to anything that is familiar and resembles us, no matter how small the trait. We will still hold on to that sense of familiarity. And you might be wondering why we have this intrinsic need to want to belong to a herd and start our own herd. For instance, when you choose to get married and have a family, what really drives us towards these responses? The answer to all these questions has everything to do with our primal nature to want to survive. The purpose of belonging to a herd and being part of a group is for safety. Every family's primary role is to provide safety to the family or to its family members. When you are a part of a group, you are looking for people that will vouch for you, defend and protect you. And the primary role of any group is to make sure that its members are fully protected. It is hard for any predator animal to attack a herd that is tight. For example, a herd of buffaloes together can easily take out one lion if they work together. And it is hard for one lion to attack that herd. So if you're a part of this herd, you are fully protected from any predators. You are safe, and that herd will guarantee your survival or your safety. So if you're a part of this herd, you are protected. And by being part of that herd, you are guaranteed safety. Therefore, your survival. We are no more different to animals. The forces that drive our primal instincts are very much the same. That is pretty much the longest introduction I've ever done to introduce a topic. But anyway, I just wanted to share that bit because sometimes providing a background to a story is very much needed to lay the foundation so that I don't have to over-explain myself later because you now have the context. Anyway, moving on. Where I'm getting at with this is people look for life partners because we are aware two is always better than one, only if the two work as one. When people are seeking a partner with whom to start a romantic relationship with, normally they will look for people that are of similar or matching characteristics with them. Because we assume if we enjoy the same type of movies or listen to the same type of music, then we must be compatible. That would be a very incorrect assumption. Having this said similarities is an advantage, obviously, as the both of you could potentially use your similarities as an entry point where you can establish a relationship with someone by discussing your similar ideas while getting to know each other even more and build a relationship from that. It becomes a challenge when people start looking for partners that are identical to them. Why? No two people are exactly the same. You might appear so on the surface, but not very much once you start digging deeper. But more importantly, for every team to work and actually progress, the team members must be as diverse as possible in terms of their potential and capabilities that might be beneficial to the group. That is how you are able to leverage your strengths against your weaknesses within a team. A romantic relationship is a team. That is the smallest team you can ever be part of until maybe you start growing your family. It is the two of you trying to provide safety for each other in order to survive together, us against the world type of situation. For the both of you to be able to get the most out of that relationship, you must first know yourselves intimately. You by yourself need to figure out your character's strengths and weaknesses, and your partners as well, and from the start. The earlier the better, the sooner the better. Figure out how and if your characters can be compensated to balance each other out. Your strengths should counter your partner's weaknesses and vice versa. That is how you create balance. That is how you find balance within your relationship. Every relationship finds its own balance because every relationship is unique as we are. If we manage to find this balance between ourselves and the life partners that we choose, then we most definitely will experience relationships that are very fulfilling. You don't have to be identical to be compatible in relationship. As far as I know, you shouldn't be identical anyway. Like repels. Two people can be very different but highly compatible because both have managed to find balance within each other. Just like water and earth, when they come together, they find balance. Although very different elements, but when they bond, you will definitely have something growing. The real purpose in building any type of relationship is for everyone to offer something to the partnership, the team, or the herd. We all have something genuine to offer others. It's just not always about receiving. For you to receive, you first must also be willing to give. That's when you will have a balance within yourself and within the relationship that you're in. Relationships that are transparent, where everyone knows there is an exchange happening and everyone is aware of what they are getting, that what they're receiving and offering the other. These type of relationships are much more fulfilling to be in as compared to relationships that are less transparent. When people are not aware of their own strengths and weaknesses, they will equally be blinded to the other people's strengths, or worse, they will only want to take from others. And this can put you at a risk of being kicked out of your own herd, because we all must contribute to prove our value, to be able to benefit from what the herd as a whole has to offer us, which, as we have already established, primarily is safety. The advantages of knowing your own character inside out are limitless. And more so if you equally have a partner who also is aware of themselves. What it means is responsibilities within your relationship will be divided based on your strengths as individuals, and you will be able to maximize your potential as a couple. If one person is doing all the heavy lifting within a relationship, within the said relationship, this will always result in a struggle. Or if your responsibilities are mismatched, this will result in burnout from both of you, which will create resistance, and resistance create tension, and then you have conflict. This brings us to the most interesting point that I want to talk to you about today. This is the most common mistake that most couples make when they get together. Due to the societal norm, we are brought up to identify and accept certain truths and maintain that core belief, even when those beliefs do not necessarily serve us in any way, but instead create further problems for us. We still must accept them as they are, because it is for a greater good, and you do not want to go against the grain. You do not want to go against your herd. So whatever the society which is part of your herd has decided is truth, you will accept and uphold it, to be accepted as part of that collective. One of this belief, especially upheld in most cultures, is that the man is the head of the household, period. This belief that has been upheld in most societies strongly believe that men are naturally alphas, and whenever they have been coupled with a female, they have the responsibility to lead, and the woman is to follow. This belief has created a divide for most families, because whenever a woman is coupled with a man, she has an expectation for him to lead, for him to demonstrate his strength as the alpha, as the head of the family. When she finds out that he cannot lead her, she then challenges him, and that's how conflicts arise. The truth of the matter is, not all males are alphas, and not all alphas are male. Some males are betters, and some men are followers, and some women are alpha females and are there to lead. Just because as a man you're a better does not mean that you are not important or should feel any less about yourself. We all need to purposefully realize that we all can be equal, in the sense of being equally good at carrying out certain responsibilities. As I have already explained, that a team needs to be as diverse as possible, so you all can have the same strong character. It just cannot work. As much as we are all working together in our individual teams, it might seem like others have more important roles and responsibilities than we do. It doesn't mean that we are less important. It all comes down to the simplicity it will take them to complete a task as compared to someone who doesn't particularly, or who isn't particularly good at, or doesn't have the same skill sets to complete the same task. They will struggle, they might take longer, and will potentially use a lot more energy on the same task. For example, my fiance, is not very good at building IKEA furniture. It took him almost a whole day to build a set of drawers, and it wasn't even done in any way. It was all done completely wrong. He doesn't have the patience required to complete the job. I took over and it took me 2 hours to finish. The point of knowing your own strengths is to be as efficient as possible in carrying out responsibilities in our particular social groups, teams, families, etc., so that you are better placed in a position that you will contribute and add value to the team. That is how you get yourself to be a valuable member of your society, a valuable member in your family unit, your team, and your partner's life. But first, you must know your character strengths and weaknesses. When you most certainly know what you're good at and what you are not good at, and equally learn what your partner is good at and not good at, together you will be able to set a clear course towards the direction you want your relationship to go based on both your potentials combined. I mean, you have seen couples that seem to be growing and flourishing together. You can see clear progression in their relationship and maybe even in their individual achievements. A couple that is highly compatible will most likely evolve together, because even though they will have conflicts between them, they will still recognize the value their partner add to the relationship, and that will bring about a certain respect they will both uphold for each other. That will be evident in how they address each other and how they conduct with each other, so that even though they will likely have disagreements within the relationship, they will always find a compromise. They will always find a compromise. And why? Because they know each other's value. Disrespect is always a result of not recognizing the value in the other person. That is why it is very rare to see people disrespecting their bosses. You simply cannot bite the hand that feeds you. If you see people disrespecting their bosses or people that they normally shouldn't be disrespecting, just know that they have nothing to lose, or they don't see any value in them anymore. The value an individual can bring into a relationship can pretty much be anything and can look like anything. Physical support, mental support, emotional support, financial support. There's loads. But the point is not really what you're bringing in the relationship, but to find another who is seeking what you are or what you have to offer, and who is more likely to find value in what you are offering them. The reason I say this is you can have the best of the best qualities known to man, but coupled with a partner or with someone who isn't necessarily interested or seeking whatever you have to offer them. This will most likely lead to disappointment, dissatisfaction from both sides, because both people are not getting exactly what they need from the other. And that's how you will have constant conflicts, because one person will be giving the most while the other isn't, or they both can be giving out, but the only problem is they both do not recognize the value in what is being offered them, because it is not what they both are seeking from each other. This type of situation becomes a living hell. Therefore, I do hope you realize the importance of compatibility in couples, because it sure does prevent a lot of grief, doesn't it? I think I should stop there for today, and I've talked enough. I'll surely be doing a part 2 on this topic, because there's just so much to unpack when it comes to compatibility in relationships. And when you factor in the implication gender roles play when it comes to how responsibilities are divided in the home or the household, you will notice how all these factors play a major role in how we relate with each other. And the intensity of it also depends in what type of society you are part of. Some societies being a little more relaxed, while some being not very much. I hope to see you in my next video, and thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe.